What if I told you that your brain cannot tell the difference between extreme terror and intense love? To your nervous system, a punch to your self-esteem and a passionate embrace release chemicals so identical that after a certain point your mind stops looking for safety. It starts looking for the rush of the damage. We have all looked at someone trapped in a devastatingly toxic relationship and asked the exact same question. Why don't they just leave? We call them weak. We call them foolish. We wonder how an otherwise intelligent human being can allow themselves to be dragged through the mud, week after week. From the outside, the solution seems simple. If someone hurts you, you pack your bags and you walk out. But modern neuroscience reveals a much darker reality. They aren't staying because they lack courage. They are staying because they are chemically addicted to the very person who is destroying them. This isn't a romance. It is a neurological hostage situation, known as trauma bonding. Today we are opening the medical files of the human brain to understand why we develop a loyalty so fierce it borders on self-destruction. We are going to decode the sinister cycle of reward and punishment and why the human mind is engineered to love the hands that hurt us the most. To understand how a mature adult template gets rewired to accept abuse as affection, we have to strip away the complex psychology and look at the raw biochemistry of survival. And it all begins with the most dangerous cycle known to behavioral science: intermittent reinforcement. In the 1950s, psychologist B.F. Skinner conducted a chilling experiment. He placed a rat in a box with a lever. In the first setup, every time the rat pressed the lever, it got food. The rat was happy, ate, and went to sleep. No anxiety, no obsession. In the second setup, when the rat pressed the lever, it got nothing. The rat quickly lost interest and walked away. But then Skinner introduced a cruel third setup. The lever was randomized. Sometimes it gave food, sometimes it did nothing, and sometimes it gave a small electric shock. Do you know what the rat did? It became completely obsessed. It began frantically pressing the lever until its paws bled, ignoring sleep, ignoring safety, ignoring everything. This is called intermittent reinforcement. And it is the exact engine that drives a trauma bond. When a partner is consistently mean or abusive, you leave. When they are consistently loving, you stay. But when they are unpredictable, when they treat you like dirt on Monday and then shower you with flowers, tears, and absolute devotion on Wednesday, your brain becomes that frantic rat in the box. You aren't staying for the abuse. You are staying because your brain is starving for the next random drop of validation. Let's look at the raw chemistry inside your head during this cycle. When your toxic partner screams at you, insults you, or threatens to leave, your body enters a state of absolute terror. Your adrenal glands flood your system with cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart races, and your survival brain goes into high alert. But then the shift happens. The partner suddenly calms down. They hold you, they cry, they tell you they can't live without you. Instantly, your brain crashes from terror into a massive, unnatural spike of dopamine, the pleasure chemical, and oxytocin, the bonding hormone. The relief is so intense it feels euphoric. It feels like the deepest love you've ever experienced. But scientifically, that isn't love. It's withdrawal relief. Your brain has just associated the person who caused the pain as the only source of the cure. It is the neurological equivalent of a drug addict developing a deep, fierce loyalty to their dealer. Your logical brain, your prefrontal cortex, literally shuts down. You cannot think your way out of a trauma bond because your nervous system has categorized this person as necessary for your biological survival. This chemical trap functions in a very specific, invisible sequence. It always starts with love bombing, an overwhelming amount of affection that makes you feel uniquely seen. This sets the benchmark. Your brain memorizes this high. Then comes the devaluation, the subtle criticisms, the cold shoulder, the emotional withdrawal. You feel the drop, you panic, and to fix the panic, you start altering your behavior. You stop hanging out with your friends. You watch every word you say. You become hypervigilant, walking on eggshells, constantly trying to decode their mood. You think, if I can just be perfect enough, the person from the first month will come back. But they won't. Because the month 1 version was just the bait. The trap is what you are living in right now. The absolute worst part of a trauma bond, it distorts your calibration for healthy relationships. When you finally meet someone peaceful, safe, and consistent, your rewired brain calls them boring. You mistake the absence of anxiety and chaos for the absence of chemistry. You have become so addicted to the storm that you no longer know how to live in the calm. Now, most psychological advice will tell you to just leave or go no contact. But if you are in a trauma bond, your nervous system interprets leaving that person as actual physical death. Your body shakes, you vomit, you can't sleep. It is literal chemical withdrawal. So let's provide you with something more than just typical advice. You cannot wait for the craving to stop before you leave. You have to leave while your entire being is screaming to go back. The secret isn't to fight the addiction, it is to retrain your nervous system to tolerate the boredom of peace. Healing from a trauma bond doesn't feel like a victory, it feels like grief. You aren't just mourning the loss of a partner. You are mourning the version of yourself you sacrificed to keep them. If we step back and look at the larger picture, what we call the human matrix, we realize that human behavior is rarely random. It is an intricate blueprint of survival. Today, we decoded one of the darkest corners of this matrix. We saw how a mind can be systematically rewired through the cruel mathematics of intermittent reinforcement. And finally, we uncovered how dopamine, oxytocin, and cortisol collaborate to build a chemical hostage situation. A trauma bond is the ultimate illusion of the matrix. It makes you believe you are fighting for love when you are actually just fighting to survive the withdrawal. But breaking the chemical chain of a trauma bond is only half the battle. There is a reason you are vulnerable to this specific trap in the first place. Within the architecture of the human matrix, narcissists don't just rely on your body's chemical addiction. They deploy an invisible, highly calculated psychological warfare technique. It is a slow, systematic poison that subtly distorts your perception of reality day by day until you begin to genuinely doubt your own sanity. They make you believe that your memory is failing, that your feelings are dramatic or wrong, and that you are the one who is slowly losing your mind. In our next session, we are going to pull back the curtain and unpack the terrifying clinical mechanics of gaslighting. Not the casual, trendy version people throw around on social media, but the deep-seated, brutal erasure of reality that keeps you locked inside the matrix forever. If you feel like you are currently walking on eggshells, struggling to trust your own thoughts, or trying to decode a relationship that is destroying you, you don't have to navigate this darkness blindly. We have mapped out the entire blueprint of these behavioral traps in our comprehensive guide, the Human Matrix ebook. This book isn't just theory, it is a clinical mirror designed to help you decode the invisible manipulation patterns around you, reclaim your psychological boundaries, and understand the hidden algorithms of human behavior. You can find the link to download your copy in the description below. Remember, you cannot fix a prison you don't know you are in. But the moment you understand the design of the cage, the bars lose their power over you. Today, you finally see the bars. Thank you for your time with us at Humanus Psyche. Keep observing,